To everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search, and a time to count as lost. A time to keep, and a time to discard. A time to tear, and a time to mend. A time to be silent, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time for war, and a time for peace. It's all about getting back to basics, returning back to silence, returning back to the source, and having the courage to look direct into what we are witnessing as our own downfall. The things, situations, or people that are still making us feel attached to, codependent, disempowered. What is it that is making me feel disempowered right now, that I'm so afraid of confronting? What is it? And it's all just an emotion that is trapped from another time. You see, when you learn to escape reality through movies, or through eating, or through projecting everything onto somebody else, you may be able to create a projection of a need to connect to yourself. But how do you know to do that if you never felt it since you were little? Addictions are attachments that we create because there's something already disconnected inside of ourselves. The eclipse today, it's a portal that opens up for the next 6 months, but also for a longer term. We're about to go in with the Pluto retrograde for 6 months as well. And we have to go back and look deeply. What are the things, people, situations, or the circumstances that have me still attached to that idea? Can I take time outside of the noise and look into what is it that is not allowing me to feel powerful? The silence leads to moments of insights, of synchronicity. The silence allows the demon to be revealed, whether it's in a dream, in a meditation, or even when you go for a walk. You just wake up in the morning and you have this sense of something and you just write it down, or you tell it to a friend, or even to you. Your best friend is inside of yourself. So this moment is about contemplation. And what is it? It's not about doing so much, but about just contemplating the possibility of living free from attachment, allowing to return back to the basic, and allow time to show you that there's a time for everything. When I moved to New York in the early 90s, I wanted to be an artist, but I didn't want to go to art school. I thought, I don't want to study anything else. I was through my first Saturn return. I just turned 30, And I had been going and coming and living in many different places. I had lived in Europe, and I had done some fashion design. I had been a photographer, worked in fashion industry and magazines. I mean, why not? I mean, you name it. You name it. I worked in so many different things. And I think I was losing hope in myself because I knew that I was very capable of many things, but I just didn't want to become this jack of all trades. I just wanted to be able to channel my energy into something meaningful so I could be of service, or I didn't even know then what it meant to be of service. But I knew that I wanted to be able to do something that it was practical for me, but at the same time inspire me so much that I will wake up every morning just dying to do so. I moved to New York, and at the time everybody was asking me, like, are you going to go back to school? Are you going to get an MFA? And I'm like looking very puzzled, like, why should I get an MFA to do something that I want to do by discovering, which is art? So I'm so glad that I always been following my truth and really following a voice that is inside that says, just go and do it. So without even knowing how to make art, I started making art. And one of the first pieces that I did is this piece that is called For the Time Being. And it just happened that I was living in Brooklyn under the Manhattan Bridge, industrial building that now is like a very, if you go right now to this neighborhood, it's nothing to do what it was when I moved there in 1995, 96, I think it was. So anyway, I had the most beautiful view of downtown Manhattan with the Brooklyn Bridge, and even the Twin Towers were there at the time. And the river was just steps away. So I could see every day through my large windows the passage of time and the boats and the tugboats and everything that happens in a river that is always flowing was there. And I would just sit down and watch time pass by. So I made a decision of recording the view, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, I don't even remember, but there was a while that I was recording. So I was noticing that when I was recording the view, my emotional body was different. Like as I was allowing the camera to be recording, I was relating to the view differently. And I wanted to see whether my mood was changing because of the time, or the time was perceived different because of my mood. And this is like, I think the first time I started noticing that my emotional body could serve a purpose to guide me. It was what I call these days my GPS. It was by noticing something outside of myself changing, I could notice maybe that my emotional body was changing according to something. I recorded this piece and I started editing, and it was just beautiful material. It was hours and hours of recording snow, summer, boats, flies, birds, everything that was passing by. And then one day I said, but this needs sound. And like what I do often with my work is just I ask something outside of myself to point me to a place where I will find the answer. And I'm not a very religious person, but I had, before leaving Colombia to go to New York, I was giving a little Bible that I used to have open in one page. I don't remember what it was. It was a Psalm 91 or something like that, something that was referring to protection, or I don't remember, something like that. And I just decided to go to that book and just open it randomly, and it will tell me something. Lo and behold, I open it up at the part, it's called the Ecclesiastes, the verse number 3, and these are the words that I was reciting at the beginning. To everything there is a season, and I just love it. And I have that piece in my website, and it's just so beautiful. So I wanted to return back to the basics, just trusting how I have been doing art without having to know how to do it. I had been trusting that inner silence, that place where I return when all the outside can get to noisy and crazy. So this is an invitation for all of you to take time. You know the things that you have to let go already. You know what's not working. You know already what you're attached to and is causing you some hindrance in your life. Just believe in yourself a little bit more and start engaging with it. Go back to basics. Get dirty. May you feel it in your hands. May you feel it in your body. May you be well. Have a great week, my friends, and really take advantage of this energy that is, it's very transformational. We're embarking in a very big transformation inside and outside of ourselves. Take care.